evening to each and every one of us. Kindly stay tuned as we are about to start. Go ahead, get yourself a pen, a paper, because in a moment we shall be seeing in details one of the topics that most of us tend to struggle with, right? So, as we shall be going through this lesson that I've prepared for us today, kindly get to note down all the areas you will be having questions with, because as we proceed, I would like you to ask questions so that you are able to, make corrections and also improvements as we continue with this live, right? Now, for those of you who don't know me, this is Lera Fred speaking to us. That is Teacher Fred, all the way from Kenya. And I'm very passionate about the language. The aim is to ensure that we make the process of learning language as easy and also as accessible, right? Now, the topic we've selected today is on the prepositions. Now, you know very well that in the process of learning German, prepositions is amongst the most important topics, right? Because from this, you will be able to construct sentences and even questions and so on and so forth, right? Now, before we get to start, I need to mention that in German, we have 4 cases, right? In German, there are 4 cases of nouns. Now, I know some of you might have already gone through it. Things like nominative, accusative, dative, and even the genitive. There are 4 of them, right? So we're going to list these prepositions for all these cases, right? So please get somewhere to write. Let's go ahead. So we'll begin with the first category. Let's see the prepositions. Now, this is the first example. Prepositions plus accusative. So in this first category, I want us to list the prepositions which normally go with the accusative, right? Now, as we go through the list, I would like you to go ahead and comment below which level are you currently in. And also, if you've already seen things like nominative, accusative, etc. Go ahead and share below. First of all, where are you tuning in from? And number 2, which level that you're currently in, right? Let's go ahead. So here are the prepositions that go with the accusative. There's a formula I like using, that is the FUDOGEB. The acronym is as follows. So we have FUDOGEB. There's an acronym that I would like you to also use to help you remember them, right? FUDOGEB. That is FUDOGEB. Let's now see each in full. Now, the F stands for fewer. The F stands for fewer. Remember, the acronym is FUDOGEB. So, fewer, this simply means 4. Fewer now means 4. All right. Now, the U stands for Now, do kindly note that you will find German prepositions having more than one meaning. You might find one preposition having so many meanings depending on the context that it has been used in that particular sentence, right? All right. So, fewer, which is 4, and then there's Now, means around. This one means around or at. Around or even at. All right. Now, as I said, you might find a preposition having so many meanings depending on the context of the sentence which has been used. Are you referring to it in terms of time or location, etc., right? So, fewer, Now, the D is durch. Now, the D now stands for durch. This means through. Durch, this one now means through. All right. Remember that we're now talking about prepositions plus accusative. Let me just write them in full so that one doesn't confuse. These ones are the prepositions plus accusative. All right. Fewer, durch. Now, how about the O? Remember, the acronym we gave is FUDOGEB. That is FUDOGEB. All right. Fewer, Durch. Now, how about the O? Now, the O stands for ohne. That is ohne. Now, ohne means without. Ohne means without. All right. Now, how about the G? Now, G is gegen. That is gegen. All right. Now, gegen means against. Gegen, this one means against or into. All right. So, für, durch, ohne, gegen. By the way, I like saying that these are going to affect your schreiben. Once you know the prepositions well, right? Once you know the prepositions well, it tends to garner you marks in your schreiben and in your sprechen. That's why I would recommend get to know each preposition in detail, right? So, how about E? Now, E means entlang. Now, the E stands for entlang. All right. Entlang is along. For those of us who are just joining in, let me say welcome to you. Feel free to share below where are you tuning in from and which German level are you currently in. Are you in A1, A2, B1? Feel free to share below, right? We are addressing the prepositions which are going to affect your sprechen and even your schreiben. I can see Amit Nishu, exam 12th February. Oh, okay. Don't be nervous. I always say once you know the grammar, that's it. In the continuous lives we shall be having, we'll be able to detail on some of the grammar also, right? Now, the B stands for bis. All right. B now is bis. Bis, which now means until. It can mean until or even till. Bis, the one we like using, bis morgen, bis dann, etc, etc. So these are the prepositions which will go with the accusative. Für, durch, ohne, gegen, entlang, and bis, right? Let's take some sentence examples before we also mention the ones. Okay, let's firstly mention for accusative, and then we take some detailed sentence examples, right? Let's go ahead. So in the following category that I'm about to list, these are now prepositions plus dative. These are now the prepositions which go with dative. Kindly be careful so that you do not confuse between the two, right? Afterwards, we're going to be seeing some sentence examples, both for sprechen and even schreiben, right? Now, for the ones that go with dative, remember we said here is Fudelgeb, right? Fudelgeb. Fudelgeb. Für, durch, ohne, gegen, entlang, and bis. Now, for dative, do use the following formula. Von zu, that is von zu Snambeg. Kindly copy. Von zu Snambeg. Dative has out of them, right? Von zu Snambeg. Von zu Snambeg. This one is full. All right, let's go ahead then. So the von just means von. Now this is from. This now means from or off, right? Von, from, or even off. And then the zu, now zu is to. Okay? Von, from, zu, which is now to. Now, how about the S? Now, S stands for seit. Kindly note, seit. Don't confuse with Zeit. There is Zeit, and then this is seit, S-E-I-T. This now means since. Since or even for. All right? Seit, since or even for. Now, how about the N? Now, N is nach. Nach. Now, be careful with the pronunciation of CH. After R-O and O, remember CH. Nach. Nach. It's almost like the same voice one makes when you're disgusted. Ach, nach. So this nach has two meanings. It can mean after. Nach means after. It also means to. Nach also means to. All right. All right, let's go ahead. How about the a? Now, this one means aus. This is from. Aus. This one now means from. All right. In a moment, we're about to see some sentence examples, right? Which you will use both for schreiben and sprechen. Okay. As I also mentioned, remember the formula is Fudogeb. This one is von Süßnambeg. Guys, feel free to share below. Where are you tuning in from? Are you in A1, A2, B1, B2? Feel free to share below. Now the M. M is mit. M is now mit. All right. This means with. Mit, which is now with. Okay. And the B. B is now by. B, this is now by. Now, by also means at. By is at. And then I have E. This is entgegen. Remember, this one here is entlang, along. But this one here is entgegen. Entgegen, which now means parallel to. Parallel to or alongside. And then the last one, G. This is gegenüber. Gegenüber, which is now the opposite. Opposite. Entgegen is parallel. I believe we're copying them down with the meanings, right? Parallel. So these are the ones which will go with dative. As I began by saying that these prepositions will affect your ability in forming sentences, whether for sprechen or for schreiben. Be careful on the same, right? All right, then. So let's just see some sentence examples then, using each for clarity, right? We'll be having some sentences in English, and then we see how we are able to translate, right? By the way, as I said at the beginning, if you are looking for detailed revision class, kindly check in the description below. I've shared detailed channels you're able to check or get detailed revision classes. A1, A2, B1, B2, whether it's for Goethe or for ÖSD, you are able to get details shared in the description, right? At the end of the lesson, please go ahead and do that, yeah? So let's now see some sentences. I'm going to be giving some sentences. By the way, those who are asking, who is speaking? When they're going to be having a detailed live Sprechen, each of you will be introducing themselves in German, right? As part of Sprechen practice. This is Teacher Fred speaking to us, Lehrer Fred, right? So let's see some sentence examples then, right? We want to say that I work, how will I say? I work for the company. Look at the sentence. Would like to translate. I work, Abraham, hello, right? How would you say I work? Nico says I'm German, and this looks so confusing. Abraham, A1, sehr gut, sehr gut. So look at the following sentence then. I work for the company. How will you say this? I work for the company. I will take this as my example, right? So I work for the company. Simply go ahead and say, ich arbeite, right? I work for the company. Now becomes, ich arbeite, right? Ich arbeite, all right, for the company. Now somebody has tried, Amit has said, ich arbeite for Firma. That is incorrect, almost caught it, but there is part that is incorrect. So I work for the company. Nico has said, ich arbeite für die Firma. That is now correct from Nico's side. You've said, ich arbeite für, ich arbeite für, Accusative, die Firma. Now, Firma is feminine, right? That's why we're now using die, and it's in Accusative. Ich arbeite für die Firma. I work for the company. All right? All right, let's go ahead then and see another one. Now let's make it in form of a question. We want to ask in form of a question. Can I speak with you? Look at the following. Can I, now be careful because now we're using a modal verb, right? Can I speak with you? Can I speak with you? Look at that. Now be careful because it's a modal verb, right? Can I speak with you? Who wants to try this? The first person to score it, we should give them a shout out, right? Can I speak with you? Now be careful also with the you because there are two. There's one in the do form and then there's one in the Z form, right? So can I speak with you? Now there's one that has been given from, let me see who has taken the first one. Can I speak with you? Serena, that is Serena Weiss, says, can ich mit? You almost caught it. Now the do part is incorrect, yeah? Now I should change the do part. How about Kofre? Let's also read from, who else? Rich? No. How about Kofre? Kofre says like this, kann ich mit dir sprechen? I will pin the message from Kofre. That is correct. Kann ich, let's check the answer from Kofre's side. Kann ich mit dir sprechen? I will also read one from PHM. PHM says, kann ich mit dir sprechen? That is also correct. It is right. So Kofre was the first one to score it. I've pinned the message. Let's refer to it, right? So it should be, can I speak with you? Now the answer would be, kann ich. Now this is a modal verb. Kann ich mit? Right. Now because of the mit, because of the mit, it changes the do to become dir. So whether you used dir or used Ihnen, capital I, is correct. Yeah? Kann ich mit dir oder mit Ihnen sprechen? Look at that. Kann ich mit dir oder Ihnen sprechen? Can I speak with you? All right. All right. Let's also pick one from, let's use this one without, right? One without. So I want to say that Peter is traveling without the money. How do you say Peter is traveling without the money? How do you say that? Peter is traveling without money or the money. Peter is traveling. So Peter is traveling without. Now you're seeing that the articles are changing depending on the gender, right? And also the case. Peter is traveling without the money. Peter is traveling without the money. Right? So how do you say that? Peter is traveling without the money. I see most of us have said that in A1. Who in A2 here? Let me see. A2, B1. Feel free to share below. So Peter is traveling without the money. So we said without is ohne, right? Remember, it goes with accusative. So Peter is traveling. Now the verb to travel, which is fahren or even reisen, right? So I can either use reisen or the fahren. So let's go ahead. Peter is traveling. Now becomes Peter, okay, and then you conjugate fährt. Now, of course, the fährt can mean to travel or to drive, right? So Peter fährt, or if you use reist, okay, Peter fährt oder reist. Now, without, we will say that our without is ohne. All right, let me read from Kofre's side if she's correct. Peter reist ohne Geld. That is correct from Kufre's side. Kufre, your sentences are very correct. Which level are you in? Share it with me. So Peter fährt oder reist ohne. Now you're seeing the ohne, which is also plus accusative, right? Ohne. And I could say das Geld or just Geld. Peter fährt ohne das Geld or just Geld. Right? So Peter is traveling without money. All right, etc, etc. Sehr gut, sehr gut. All right, let's now pick also one for dative. I would use aus. Remember, the aus is from. Now, somebody was asking, what is the difference between this aus? You can see aus, which is from, and there is this other one, von, which also means from. All right. Now, the difference is this shows originality. There's a lesson we will be breaking down the difference that lies between aus and even von. We'll be seeing it in detail, right? So, anyways, you want to ask somebody a question using this aus, like, do you come from Europe? How do you say, do you come from Europe? Now you're using aus, not von, yeah? Aus, which is from. Normally, aus shows the originality, where one comes from, right? etc, etc. Right, so, Nico, danke, das freut mich zu hören. So, aus, you want to ask somebody, do you come from Germany? Sorry, do you come from Europe? Now, you know very well that when you ask the ja, nein kind of question, you have to begin with the verb, right? So there is one that has been given from Dipta. Dipta Magar says, kommst du aus Europa? I'm going to pin the message so that people can refer to it. Dipta has called it, kommst du aus Europa? All right. How about from Hanifa? Let me also read from Hanifa. Kommst du aus Europa? That is correct. Right. Kommst du? Let's see it. Do you come from Europe? So either we use in the do form. Kommst du? You can say kommst du or even kommen Sie, right? Kommst du aus Europa? Guys, be careful that whenever you do your schreiben, the nouns should always begin in capital, right? So, kommst du aus Europa? Right? Do you come from Europe? Right? Do you come from Europe? etc, etc. All right. Okay, let's go ahead then. We want to take another one. Now, we've said this nach. Remember, we said that nach means after. It also means to. All right. Okay, let me just clarify something else. I want to give us the difference. When do we use nach? When do we use zu? And when do we use in? Let's see the difference. Now you're seeing that these two prepositions in German that mean the same thing. There is nach, right? There is zu, and then there is in, right? These three. Nach, zu, and in. And you realize all of them at one point they are used to mean to, right? So you might be asking, hey, so when do I know when to use nach, when to use in? All right? Remember, nach, zu, and in. All of them mean to. The difference is that nach is used with places without articles. Remember that nach is used with the places without articles. All right? E.g., names of countries, names of cities, etc., etc., right? We use nach for places without articles. Ich gehe nach Deutschland. Wir fahren nach Amerika. All right? Mein Bruder geht nach Europa. So it's used, I can say, ich fahre nach Nepal. Etc., etc., right? Names of towns, cities without articles. And then for zu and in, now these two are used for those with articles. All right? With articles. Things like, ich gehe in die Schweiz. Right? Ich fahre, ich gehe in die Stadt, ich gehe in die Schule, etc., etc., and so on and so forth, right? Anyways, we will be seeing more of it in one of the lessons that are prepared for us soon. So the example I would like you to take using nach to mean after, you want to say, after the meal, right? After the meal, we are traveling to Germany. This nach. After the meal, remember it means after and even to, right? So, after the meal, we are traveling to Germany. How do you say it? Now, remember we're using the nach. The first person to score it also, we should pin their message and also give them a shout out, right? Go ahead. I hope you're not using a dictionary, right? Try forming the sentences without a dictionary to see if you will score it. So we're using the nach, after. After the meal, we are traveling to Germany, right? After the meal, we're traveling to Germany. How do you say that? After the meal, we're traveling to Germany. This is a nice one. I like using this as a trap question, right? So let's get to give the person who scores it correctly, the first one to score it correctly. We want to pin the message and also give them a shout out. Now there's one from Turgay. Turgay, hello. Let's see how Turgay has said it. That nach dem Essen, reisen wir nach Deutschland. This is from Turgay. The first person to score it is Turgay. Guys, I've pinned the message from Turgay. Please, let's check it out. You said, nach dem Essen reisen wir nach Deutschland. Turgay, that was nicely done. There's also one from Kufre. Kufre says also, nach dem Essen reisen wir nach Deutschland. Sehr gut. Guys, I'm impressed by the way you're able to form correct sentences. So this is the answer that has been given out. After the meal. Nach dem Essen. Now in this case, we're using Essen as a noun. That's why it has to be a capital. Right? A capital. So nach dem Essen reisen wir. Nach dem Essen reisen wir nach Deutschland. Nach dem Essen reisen wir nach Deutschland. So after the meal, we are traveling to Germany. Right, sehr gut from each one of you. I've seen one from Kufre, I've seen one from Turgay. Dipta also tried. Dipta, that was correct. How about Nadia? Hello, Nadia, all the way from Algeria. Welcome, right? etc, etc. Anita, Punjab, lives in Punjab. That is nice. Yes, but you say nach is just okay. That is true. Now, if you're using nach as to, is now where we don't use it with article, right? But if you use it to mean after, we'll have to follow it with articles, right? Subvic. Normally, if you use it as to, is when it is not followed with articles. But if you use it to mean after, it has to be followed with an article, right? After the meal, after the game, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, there's this lesson I think I should plan for us, whereby we'll break down the sentence structure. I know the main issue is, what is dative? What is accusative, right? Genitive, what do we mean? There's a lesson I'm going to prepare for us, which we will also detail on the same. All right. Anyways, let's take two more examples as we conclude. Two more examples. Let's use through. We're going to be using this douche, right? Douche, which is now through. Now, how would you say that they are not going through the town? Now I'm using douche. They are not going through the town. All right? They are not going. Now notice it's a negative one. Eh? They are not going through the town. Now how do you say that? They are not going through the town. Notice I've just used they, right? Aslona, hello to you too. Those of you who are just tuning in, let me say welcome. We're about to conclude the lesson. This is our last example. Yeah? So they are not going through the town. Everyone is afraid of that one. Eh? They are not going through the town. You realize German, there's so many Z. There's Z for she, there's Z for you, there's Z for, they, etc, right? Let me see. Ich verstehe ihn gut. Yeah, okay. Right. They are not going through the town. There's one from Subvic. Let me read this one from Subvic. Says like this, that sie gehen, this is from Subvic, sie gehen nicht durch die Stadt. Sie gehen nicht durch die Stadt. I will pin button from Subvic, the first one to score it. How about PHM? PHM supports by saying, Sie gehen nicht durch. No, that is incorrect. Town should not be Dorf. Dorf is villager. How about Hanifa? Let's read one from Hanifa. Sie gehen nicht durch die Stadt. That is correct. Kufre. Kufre says, Sie gehen nicht durch die Stadt. Correct. So Kufre also scored it. I'm seeing Senina all the way from France. Wunderbar. How about Dipta? Dipta, you say, Sie sind gehen. No. Let's remove the Sie in there. Instead, just say, Sie gehen nicht durch die Stadt. All right. So, don't confuse these two. There's Dorf, which is village, and then town, which is now Stadt, right? So, if you have it like this, then give yourself a tick, and that is, Sie gehen nicht, right? Sie gehen nicht durch. Sie gehen nicht durch die Stadt. Sie gehen nicht durch die Stadt. They are not going through the town. All right, etc, etc. So guys, these are those prepositions that go with accusative and dative. I would recommend later on in your own free time, get to revisit the video. Kindly get to master by using the acronyms. For accusative, Fudogeb. Fudogeb. For dative, von Süßnambeck. All right, etc, etc. So ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of today's live. As I've mentioned, I've shared some details in the description for those of us who are looking to get detailed Zoom classes. That is A1, A2, B1, B2, whether you're looking for exam preparation, whether you're looking for beginner's course, etc. I've shared the details in our description. Kindly check them out. We have the following bundles. One can simply gain access to the full video courses, purchase and watch, or one can also gain access to the, the daily one-on-one Zoom classes, right? Kindly check the description for further information, right? Go ahead and like this video, share with your friends. We'll see you in the next one. This was Teacher Fred speaking to us. Das ist alles für heute. Tschüss, gute Nacht.